Hey guys, welcome to the War Room and another fabulous Testimony Tuesday. So this segment of testimony today, I'll be sharing with you from a time in my life. I was 16 years old. It was 1992. I believe it was 1992. I was 16 years old, I'll never forget, because that was the year that the Chicago Bulls won the championship against the Portland Trailblazers. That was like a big thing. It was a big celebration. Chicago native. So I'm going to shorten this one a little bit, just a little bit, but I'm going to give you some pointers in it. But I'm not going to be long-winded with this one. I'm 16. My stepdad and my mom had allowed us to go outside, so we were able to go outside. It was myself, my baby sister behind me, and my baby brother. He was the baby of all of us at that time. I was 16, so my sister had to be like 15. Yeah, and I believe my brother was somewhere around, I'm thinking in my mind 2, but he may have been 3 or 4. I'm not really sure of his age. So long ago. He's a grown man married with kids, y'all. That's what's up. But anyway, so we went outside and went to go visit a friend of mine, and we watched the game over there. Everybody had fun, this, that, and the other. And I'm skipping a little bit. So we come back, my sister and I, we meet back up because she went to go visit her best friend and classmate over in the neighborhood as well, and we met back up. So we going back to the house, and mind you, when we left and he said it was okay for us to go, he was cool. He didn't look ill-willed. He didn't look upset. He didn't look angry about anything. So we come back and knock on the door. He opens the door, and he looks frustrated, angry, mad, almost unhuman, to be honest, if you ask me. And he snatches my little brother because he was in between both of us. I don't know if I was holding his hand, she was holding his hand, I don't remember. Thought I was, but he snatches him in and he slams the door in our face. And we're sitting there and we look at each other. She look at me, I look at him like, what's going on? What we do? So instantly I'm thinking, oh, he had one of his moods. So I knew what kind of day it was gonna be. Well, I had made up in my mind that I was ready for it all. You could bring it, because I'm ready. I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm 16, thinking my little frail skinny self was going to fight this grown big old man. He wasn't a big man, and I was like Ike Turner. My mom lived the Tina Turner story, to be honest. And so I'm like, what's going on? So I get angry, and I think I got offended from having the door slammed in my face. So I start knocking on the door, beating on the door. Took him a minute to come to the door, but when he decided to come to the door, guys, he came to the door and he opened the door, and like I said, I'm cutting a little bit. A lot of stuff I'm not comfortable telling, so I'm gonna cut it. He opens the door and he looks at me with this laid back smirk on his face, almost like, yeah, come on. So he like, yeah, come on in. You think you bad? And I don't know where my sister was at this point. I think she was behind me or on the side. I'm not sure. But at that moment, I had decided in my little 16-year-old heart that, dude, I'm tired of you. So I start walking forward, but not fastly. It's just a little bit, inching little by little. And he like, yeah, come on in. You think you bad? Come on in. And my little crazy self, thinking I'm bad and big, I start walking on in, and I'm cursing at him, calling him names. He cursing at me, calling me the B word. Come on in, I got something for you. I got something for you. And I'm just walking in, walking up, and I notice as he bagging up, he got one hand behind his back, and he's just beckoning me with one, bagging up. See, I'm so busy focusing on his face and what I'm gonna hit first, just in my little mind thinking what I'm gonna do, and I never paid attention that it was only one hand visual. And as he bagging up, come on in, and I wasn't even halfway in or I think I may have been a quarter in. I just crossed the threshold, but I didn't get all the way in where you could close the door behind me and I can get trapped in. I came in, and all of a sudden, my mama came out of nowhere. She may have been sitting on the couch. I don't know. I like I said, some things I blocked out on purpose. She grabs this man, if I can recall, by his hair, and with all her little might, she pushes him over and slings him over to the side. And she shoves me out the door and slams the door. Well, so I'm outside, and I'm frustrated. I'm like, because I think my sister was coming in behind me as I was coming in, but I don't think she stepped in all the way. So we both looking like, and I had took this, I guess, the wrong way. In my mind, I'm like, now why you do that? Like, I was frustrated. I was angry. All of a sudden, I start banging on the door and disrespecting her. And I'm calling her names through the door, which is what I was doing the first time when he didn't open the door, when he snatched my brother in. And I'm banging on the door trying to figure out what's going on. I was like cursing him out, disrespecting him, and all that stuff. I'm kind of not ashamed to say that I was in another place. You just had to be there to know why I was that disrespectful. So I'm disrespecting her, and then which grabs the attention of the little old lady next door. So she opens the door and she says, "Baby, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't disrespect your mama." And I'm like, "You don't know what we go through over there. You don't know what's going on." Yeah, and I'm just bawling and crying and trying to explain to her. And she was like, "I understand, baby, but don't ever disrespect your mama. You don't know what be happening. You don't know what be going on, and you don't know." She probably was trying to save your life. She said that, and I wasn't trying to hear it. So now I'm like, get in the house, man, your business. So now I'm disrespecting this poor old neighbor lady who tried to share some wisdom with me. Now, when we would go to school, I guess she would hear things. So she already knew, that my mom was already dealing with something. So I'm kicking and banging on the door, and I'm cursing her out, and I'm saying things to her that I shouldn't be saying, things that should never be said to a parent by a child. And I just like, forget it. I give up. And I walk off. At this point, I forgot my sister was with me. And that's probably why I didn't realize she was with me. I walk off and I run down the stairs and I take off back to my friend C's house. Because at that time in our life, we didn't tell anybody what we were going through. I don't know if we were embarrassed or she was embarrassed. We just didn't tell anybody. We didn't cry out for help. The old days to say, what goes on in the house stays in the house. Don't go outside telling nobody my business. That was us. We didn't. So we kept it closed. Now, was a few times I did tell, but I wasn't believed, because nobody believes a kid when they say they're being abused or being molested. Nobody believes you. You're looked at as the troublemaker. Anyway, back to it. I'm walking down the street and I'm just crying, and I'm like, oh, I'm in so much rage, and I'm just like hitting myself and screaming and crying like, why would she do that to me? Why she push me? And I almost fall down the stairs. I mean, I was so dramatic in my mind. And then I hear my sister say, "Robin, come back." And I turn around because I'm like, oh, I forgot she was with me. So I turn around, what for? What am I coming back for? And she yells, "Here come mama." And I turns around and I look and I'm like, here come mama. So like, I'm thinking I'm finna go back and just get all in her face and why you shove me and all this stuff. I was in a different place then, you guys. And I want to take a sidebar for a quick second and say that is never okay. It is never okay as a child to disrespect your parents. It is never okay. The Bible tells us that a disrespectful child will not live out his days. And if that was really put into me when I was younger, I probably would have knew better. I put it in my kids from the time they could understand English or understand anything I was saying. But I was just so hurt and frustrated at the situation, and I was like, I'm not going through this. I'm tired of going through this. I'm 16. It's time for us to like either get away from this dude or whatever. So I'm running up to her. She can't talk Well, she's trying to catch her breath, but she had told my sister what happened when she came out the house. Because I don't know if either she broke away from him and got away from him, or he kicked her out. I think he kicked her out. So when I get closer, I'm looking at her face and I'm like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I want to approach her with my little funky attitude, because I know she just sacrificed for me. I don't know what yet at this point. So then my sister crying and she said, Mama just saved your life. She just saved your life. And I'm like, what? And she was like, my mom was trying to talk, but she was, yeah, all of that was going on. And my sister said he had a knife. He had a, I don't know the name of the knife, but it was the long knife. You know, the one they use in the movies that the people always grab first to kill people? They grabbed it, like, knife. So he had that one. That's what he had behind his back when he was begging me to come in. It was really, he was begging me to come in, and he had that knife behind his back, and his whole plan was to kill me. So we both grabbed my mom. You know, we both held up on each end, and we walking, and she crying and we crying, and we had to ask somebody to give us some change to use the payphone. Because I guess he just kicked her out just like that with nothing. And I'm looking and I'm like, where are the boys? Because, you know, my mom had at that time 4 boys with him. So it was us in the house. It was 6 of us. My older sister was already gone. So they left me and my baby sister. Well, the one behind me, she's not the baby anymore. It was her, the 4 boys, myself, and my sister. My older sister was already gone. And so I'm worried about the boys, and I'm thinking I'm finna turn me. He's like, my mom was like, no, don't go back. And so I remember we called my uncle, the same uncle that brought my mom to find me when I was staying with the godmama. In order to figure that out, you guys have to go back and watch the past testimonies to catch up to where we are now. Okay. So my uncle came and got us, and he was mad. He was mad. He was ready to go throw some blows, but we didn't. My mom strategized a plan with him, and they worked it out, so we went to go stay with him and his girlfriend and their children at the time. And I remember my mom having to call the school, because during that week, it was my brother, he was 14, because I was 16, my sister was 15, and he was 14. And then it jumped way down to my other 3 brothers. And he was graduating from 8th grade at the time. And my mom had to call the police for us to get protection. She told them that what we had went through, and she wanted to go to the school and this, that, and the other. So we ended up getting to the school. He was there for the graduation and everything. He had on gym shoes he didn't get a chance to have. He just sent them to school like that, you know. It was already enough we were getting picked on, so people was like, he ain't got this and he ain't got that. They didn't even know the situation, just teasing me, and didn't even know he was getting beat up in the house while we were gone. So the police came up there, and I guess it brought light and shed light to what we were dealing with and what we were going through in that house. And from that point, we were able to get the boys. We got my brother from graduation, and then the police went to the house and we got my brothers. Pushing forward, there were times when my mom did call the police, and he would make up some story about being the head of the house and being on the lease first, his name on top and all this, and he paid the bills and all this. And so the police, they got tired of coming out for that. They got tired of being called. And there was this one Caucasian cop. He made sure he was on that. Every time my mom, that call came through, he made sure he was there. And he said, look, Miss Maida, listen. And he gave her some advice, but he also said, do you have anywhere you can go? And every time the police came out, instead of taking the perpetrator, the one that's causing all the trouble, out of the home, they would take us. They would always ask my mom, do you have anywhere to go? And each time she would tell them where to go, and we would always go stay with her oldest sister, and we would stay there, and he would always find some way to come get us and get us back. We would always end up back. So I guess at this time I had got frustrated. 16, I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I was ready to fight the dude. I was a little bitty nothing, and I could have got my butt kicked, or I could have got stabbed, and that could have been the end of my story. I wouldn't be here telling Testimony Tuesdays to you guys. I wouldn't be able to encourage you guys. He would have won. It was revealed to me later. My mom said that something shifted during the game. All of a sudden, he just shifted his direction toward me. Where are they? I gave him a time frame. He didn't. He just said when the game was over. In mid game, he decided to focus on why we hadn't came back. And I can't stand her. She always causing trouble. I'm gonna shut her up. So he got the knife out of the thing and set it on the table and start picking with my mom, and then started the argument. So she knew something was coming, but she didn't know exactly what. She probably thought that was for her. And then jump forward to when the incident happened. So long story short, my encouragement to you today, if you are an adult caught up in a situation like this, or caught up in any situation where there's abuse, and you are a mother and you have kids there and you just can't get out, find somebody you can trust. Find somebody you can trust, that you can talk to, that doesn't know that person. It won't go back, and it won't get back to them, so that you can find a way to get away. Network, make friends. That's what we call it now, network. Make friends with people. Like, I make friends with people. Like, I know police officers. You just have to make friends with people, because you never know who you're going to need in whatever instance or situation you may be finding yourself in. And to the young people, if you're 16, 14, 13, because my stories go way back and they get a whole lot deeper than this. This ain't nothing. Y'all think this something. I haven't even told y'all the half of it. I just really cut this one because I'm trying to be careful with some of the stuff I say. Yeah. And if you're a young person and you're that age, or you are a young adult, 16, 17, and if you are in a home where you don't feel safe, talk to somebody. I mean, really, if you got a best friend, talk to them. And don't tell nobody. Let them mention it to somebody they trust, like their mom and dad. Because if you don't open your mouth, nobody will know. Nobody can help you. In my case, the first time I said anything, I was 11 years old, and that's a whole nother testimony, and that's a good one. But the people I told, they believed me at first, but then because of the abuser, he had put some words out there and things like that, so then people don't trust the kid. They don't believe the kid. And I've seen many movies where a child is telling the truth, but nobody believes them, because that man has made friends with some people in some high places. So did my stepdad. Had friends with people that wouldn't even think that you would be like that, or you would do kids like that. But I'm here to tell you, you got to tell somebody. You got to trust and believe that God is going to help you. He's for you. And in my situation, I'm gonna say this. It was never okay for what we went through. But two, it was never okay for me to disrespect either one of them. I know. And in my little childhood mind, he deserved it. Get what I'm popping off and all of that. No. Don't be a disrespectful child. Don't be disrespectful. You go get some help. You go tell somebody. I believe that's why the enemy tried to attempt to take my life so many times. But God was like, no, I got something for her to do. There is something in her that I need her to share with the world. And I'm not going to let you take that away so soon. Because back to what I was saying with my mom, he shifted, and his whole plan was to kill me. He told her, I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill her. And you ain't going to say nothing about it. No. How do you think, as my mom, she's not going to say anything about it? What makes you think she ain't going to even stop you? And he waited, I believe, till she went to the bathroom or she walked away to answer the door, because he thought it was going to be a quick transaction. Thought it was going to be a quick something. And it didn't work out in his favor. But God kept me. God blocked it. God covered it. Isaiah 54:17 says, in the first stance, because in verse 17 there's a lot to that stance, but the first stance says, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. He never said the weapon wasn't going to form. He never told you that it wasn't going to come up against you. Things weren't going to come up. He never said it wasn't going to come up against you. He just said when it is formed, guess what? It's not going to prosper. It's not going to penetrate. It's not going to break you. I'm here to tell you, I'm a living witness. Just anything cannot happen to you. I am a firm believer. People think I'm crazy when I say that. They be like, anything could happen. No, anything can't happen. As I look back over my life and all the times that I almost died, whether it was at the hands of man, whether it was at my own hands trying to commit suicide, anything, whether it was freak accidents, car accidents, things like that, because I've been through all of that. When I tell you, God's mercy kept me, and I am still here. I heard a wise woman say, I went to a amazing event over the weekend, and there was a woman of God, and she said something that was very profound, and I swear I heard God through that. If you not dead, God's not done. And it clicked. Robin, you still here. Out of all the times you almost died, you are still here because God's not done with you. And that's what I'm giving to you, beloved. If you're not dead, God's not done. There is so much work that you have to do. There are so many things that you got to do here on this earth. And the enemy trying to take you out because he knows what your assignment is. I promise he know what you got to do. I promise he know you anointed. He know you are called. He knows you are chosen. And so he's going to keep trying you. But don't keep thinking it the negative way. Why am I still here? Why am I living? Why am I going through? Hey, why not? That's the way I look at it now. Why not? If it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else. Why not? But then I also take it with a heart and smile and say, hey, every time the enemy came in, like a flood, God lifted up a standard against him, and all his plans were folded. So my prayer for you today, beloved, is that you will continue to be encouraged, continue to share your testimonies, tell somebody of the goodness of God what he's done for you. Continue to believe God, trust God for your life. Because as long as you are living and breathing, God is not finished with you yet. Philippians 1:6. Just go ahead and read it. He that has begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Whether that is if you started something and didn't complete it yet, whether you started ministering at a young age and you fell off somewhere, and now here you are in your 40s and 50s and you think God is done with you. He's not done with you yet. He is not done with you yet. Look at it this way. You are chosen. You are called. You are anointed. And you are ordained by God to go forth and do what he called you to do. So go and do what he called you to do. Even if it's just telling your testimonies, if it's sharing your stories, if it's encouraging somebody here and there, if it's lifting somebody up, whatever it is, everybody has a mission. Believe it or not, we all do, whether it's good or bad. However you perceive it, we all got one. We're not here just idly passing by time. That is not what we're doing here. We are all called in this life to do something. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What is your choice? Do you choose to live for God and follow him and do the things that he called you to do? Or not? I look at all these movies, and every time I see a movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's our life story. Oh my gosh, that's my life story. And then I think about, like, all these people out here went through something similar. And I say similar because ours was very unique. It was very, might have the same storyline. But when I tell you, when I start getting deep into these testimonies, y'all gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's a movie. Some of y'all probably saying that now. Oh my gosh, girl, you lived a movie. Well, it's like a movie. From every time, sometimes when he felt good and treated us good, like we were a family, I learned a lot from him. I really did. Good and bad. And then there were times when he just, you just knew it was the devil. You knew it was the enemy when he would line us up all against the wall and put one bullet in his rifle and play Russian roulette with us. We didn't even know if we were going to live tomorrow. That was way before the preachers and the pastors started saying, look at your name. But he was saying that back when I was, 8 years old? So, yeah, you know I got an issue when they be like, look at your name. I'll be like, yeah, nah. Yeah, I'll scratch that. But anyway, I'm just here to encourage you to continue to do what God called you to do. Tell your stories. Encourage somebody, lift somebody up. Don't be ashamed. And if you're still struggling with that, It's the last thing I want to leave you with. If you're still struggling with that, go get some help. You're never too old to go get some help. I'm 48. And I see a therapist about my situation. No, I'm not ashamed. She's just helping me balance it all out. Helping me understand why I went through what I went through. And I can hear God through her. And I can hear God speak. And I can also hear him when I open the word and I say, oh, when I was in that stage of life and that happened, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The word, it just comes forth. So you continue to be encouraged. And I will see you next week on next Tuesday. Testimony Tuesdays. And it's gonna start getting a little bit deep. That one was a little deep for me, just a little bit, so I had to take some stuff out. But I thank you all again for stopping by on this Testimony Tuesday, because as I always say every week, you do not have to stop and listen to my testimonies. You could be doing something else. But I appreciate you stopping by, and I appreciate you taking the time out to listen. God bless you, and I'm praying for you. And I'm praying that God will continue to restore you and show you his favor. Thank you for coming into the war room. Until next Tuesday, have a great one.